Problem 19. American Community Survey sample 1,923 people in Colorado and asked them how long it took them to commute to work each day. The sample mean one-way commute time was 24.5 minutes, with a standard deviation of 13.0 minutes. A transportation engineer claims that the mean commute time is less than 25 minutes. Do the data provide convincing evidence that the engineer's claim is true? Use alpha 0.05. Now we begin from step 0. We have some number in this problem. So we have sample size is 1,923. We have the sample mean is 24.5. The sample standard deviation is 13.0. The question asking us that the transportation engineer claims that the mean, and when we use the mean under the claim, we always use the population. So the mean is less than 25. And we want to use alpha is 0.05. So step number 1, we set up the null and alternative hypothesis. The mean is always equal to 25. The alternative is opposite to equal sign. In this case, we will use less than because the problem mentioned less than. And we will use the left tail. Step number 2 is choose alpha, and we already have alpha 0.05. Step number 3 is test statistic. So we will use T, x minus mu naught, and divided by s over square root of n. X bar is 24.5 minus mu naught. Mu naught is under the null because it's a naught, as we assume that is equal to 25, so minus 25 divided by 13 over square root of 1,923. So we calculate this number and we will get negative, right? Alright, so 1,923, when you take the square root, it will give you 43 point something, and we multiply by 0.5 on the top, divide 13, so negative 1.6866. So I'm gonna round it to 3 decimal places. Now step number 4, we want to find the p-value and the critical value. If we want to do the p-value first, we draw the graph right here, and it is using the left tail. So we're gonna put the test statistic right here at this point, test statistic, and that is negative 1.684. Then we will find 5p right here. Okay, if we use the critical value method, then it's a left tail also, but the shaders will be alpha 0.05, and the point right here that we need to do is 5 critical value. Okay, so we will always do that. We're gonna memorize what is given and what do we need to go find. So if we want to go find the p-value, we will input the number in the GeoGebra. Now let's go to the GeoGebra. And the degree of freedom, we will use 1922. And we use the left tail. And we will input the number is negative 1.687. Negative 1.687. So we got the P is 0.0459. So the P equals 0.0459 is less than 0.045. So because it's less, so we will reject the null. And we go back to the null in step number 1. If we reject the null, that means the null is gone. So we only have the alternative left. The alternative say mu less than 25. So we make the conclusion is the mean less than 25. Okay. In the fully sentence, we will say that the mean commute time less than 25 minutes. Now, if we want to use the critical value method, we will input 0.05 for the alpha. And we got the number is negative 1.645. So negative 1.687, the test statistic, this number land on here, which is on the reject. The shaded is reject the null. So we will say that we will reject the null, and we will make the same conclusion. It's the same as the p-value method. Now we go to the GeoGebra, and we will enter the mean. In our problem is 25. We use the less than for alternative hypothesis. The sample mean is 24.5. The standard deviation is 13. And the n is 1923. Okay, so the p-value that we got is 0.0459 in the very last slide, and the t statistic is negative 1.6866. You remember we route in negative 1.687.